It's Lisa from Been There, Got Out, and let's hope that this time works. Today's guest is Anthony Johnson. He's a co parenting and leadership coach from West Virginia. So we are in the same time zone, which is nice. Anyway, we are going to get him on. We just met recently because exactly the kind of thing that our people need as well. Anthony, I'm getting same signal. Okay, so I'm hoping Anthony can see me. Please tell me you can see me, Anthony.
I cannot see you,
All
but
right.
I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Should we try it anyway? Because I'm guessing that people can see both of us.
Um, I mean, we can still try it. I hate that I can't see you, but if people can see both of us, I will still, it's still gonna hopefully give value to the listener. So, um, I don't know why I can't see you though.
Yeah, it's really weird. All right, everybody, I'm seeing comments. Yeah, they can see both of us. I could see you. It's really annoying that you can't see my face because I have an expressive face, especially when talking to you. But we're just gonna try it anyway. If that's okay, Anthony.
That's okay with me. We'll do that. We'll
All
do
right,
it.
let's try. You're talking to a ghost. Okay. So so Anthony, I was saying that I saw some content from you. I think it originated on TikTok, and I
Mhm.
thought this is perfect for our community because you are a co-parenting coach, and you certainly deal with people who are in the midst of high conflict relationships, whether it's divorce or separation or post judgment, or just after it's done and they're still tied to someone that they might not necessarily want to still be dealing with, and there's all kinds of dynamics. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into doing this?
So I've been doing coaching for a little over 5 years, but I've been in the leadership space for I'd say over 2 decades. Like I was an officer in the Army and the Air Force, master resiliency trainer. So I was big on leadership, and then I worked in with the Air Force. So I trained officers in the Army, and then I worked in the Air Force doing something completely different. I was a coordinator for the sexual assault response program. And so I'd be the person you come to if you need to report um, if you're a survivor of sexual assault, and I guide people through the investigation. And I started my coaching business, and it was like, parenting is my most important leadership role. Being a father is my most important leadership role. And I want to do something I was very passionate about. So then I moved into the co-parenting space. That's the
Okay,
short.
you're kind of unusual because you have a military background and you're a guy and you're in West Virginia, which is predominantly white, right?
It
Where you
is.
are.
It
So,
is.
what was it like for white women to go to a black man if they are sexual assault survivors?
Well, I can't necessarily tell you what it was like for white women, but I can tell you what it was like for me. Um,
Okay.
no, I want to be very mindful and careful about this topic. Um, but as a man in that space, it can be difficult as a man in that space because sometimes when you're speaking with women who are coming to you, this may be their first experience with a man who is listening to them, like being very empathetic, supportive, with no ulterior motive, right? With the just trying to help, right? And not wanting anything from them, right? So you have to be careful as a male in that space because I've had situations, even um, in my coaching business, coaching women, I had situations where women they became attracted to me, and like we had to adjust the relationship, right? So um, so you just have to be careful as a man in that space, and you have to be, you know, um, very direct. You have to set boundaries, and you know, just be mindful of how you move, and then you have to be mindful of in West Virginia, like being like um, you know, not very black men in this area, right? And just that what comes with that, and people not liking you because of that, and so but like we're going to talk about, that comes with being the best version of yourself and doing your own works, and you have to be able to kind of block out those things.
Yeah, and boundaries are something we're definitely going to get into in this conversation. But let's start with the issue of divorce or separation, because a lot of people are not officially married, they're just separating from someone. And there's so much guilt and shame involved with separating, especially when you have children, because we often think, well, the kids didn't ask me for this, and it's my fault that they're going through all of this pain. It's my fault now, especially when there's a toxic co-parent, that I'm putting them alone with the other person. So you talked about how people should think about reframing that. How can we do that when we feel so awful?
Well, I mean, think about guilt. Think about the decisions you've made based on feeling guilty and feeling ashamed, right? Like, has that ever served you? Have you, most of the times when people are making decisions because of guilt and shame, they feel worse after they made that decision, right? Because they know they're not living like through their authentic selves. And it's like, I get it, right? We think there's a certain thing that's best for our kids, right? We want the happy nuclear family where we everybody's just happy, white picket fence, all of that, right? And so we do things based on society, what society tells us is right or wrong. And now we're staying in a relationship because we feel guilty, right? Or we feel bad about what happened. The kids didn't ask for this. So, and this is gonna hurt my kids and damage my kids. But really, what we've seen and what a lot of people talk about is how staying can hurt the kids more. And like, because kids see what's going on, and they see like mom or dad isn't happy. They see mom or dad, they're fighting all the time. And your kids want you to be happy. A lot of times your kids want your happiness. And and like I said, like there's so many people who even if you're not talking about kids, right? Think about like in your normal life when somebody's saying you're at like a PTA meeting and somebody's like, we really need somebody to bake 100, 200 cookies for the bake sale this weekend. And you're over there like, you know what? I got my son has a football game, my daughter has a volleyball game. I got people coming in town. Nobody's saying they're gonna do it. I'll do it. And then
Right, right.
you feel just the guilt of like just not, somebody not doing it. And now you're regretting that decision. Like it's the
Mhm.
same when it comes to like separating and staying or whatever and doing decisions out of guilt. You never feel good about it.
Yeah, and actually that makes me think about how we overcompensate. So like, oh, I feel bad, but I want people to like me, so I'm going to do something even though it's not good for me. You had said that often when a kid is not performing well, we take it as that's a reflection on us, and we tend to overcompensate. Can you get into that a bit?
Yeah, like I think that comes with the guilt too, right? That you separate or you divorce and you see your kid isn't performing well in school or they're like suffering from what may seem like depression or something like that. And now you overcompensate because you're blaming yourself. And now it makes you in some instances makes you be less of the parent that you want to be, right? Because now you feel like I got to be more of my kid's friend. I have to be more lenient now. I have to buy them more things. I have to give them the things that they want so I can kind of cure this and fix this mess that I've made. And and again with the guilt, then you're not living your authentic self and you're not happy with the person that you are. It's like you with life, like we talked about this, and it's like I have to think about what my role is as a parent. Is my role
Hmm.
to be their friend? Is my role to protect them from hurt and harm? Certain types of harm, yes, maybe physical harm and like danger, but is it my role as a parent to protect them from hurt, right? Like that emotional hurt and things like that's gonna come with life, right? So what my job is as a parent is to teach them how to manage that and navigate that once they experience it, because that's a part of life. So I have to just reframe that way of thinking, like, oh no, I don't want my kids to hurt. No, but actually, you know what? Hurt and pain is a part of life. and I hate that it happened this way. I wouldn't have chose for it to happen this way. But now that it's happened, what am I going to do with it? Right? Am I going to keep trying to protect them and shield them from it, or am I going to help them navigate it in a healthy way? And that's the role that I have to assume as a parent, as a father. That's how I have to look at
Right. And we talked about how shielding kids from pain is actually harmful.
it. Yeah, because it goes back to my role. What is my role? Like if I'm not if and what we talked about before is that one of the things I see my role is as a father. I see my role as preparing my kids for life without me.
Mhm.
Like that's one of my jobs. So, and if I've shielded them from pain, if I've shielded them from hurt, if I've, from the stressors of the real world, I have not done my job. I have not prepared them for what life is going to be like without me. And I have not prepared to, I have not set them up to handle the real world. Like I'm actually doing them a disservice, right? When I think I'm doing the right thing, because I know what maybe pain has caused me. Like I'm actually doing them a disservice.
Yeah, and I told you when we talked before that one of the most frequent situations that our community is faced with are when there's two homes and the other side is abusive or toxic, and so the victim feels like, oh no, I'm sending my child over there and I can't protect them, and I want to shield them from whatever's going on in that other home, but I can't be there. And if they tell the child, well, just call me if you feel unsafe, that could be interpreted as really bad parenting and possible alienating or abusive behaviors because it's kind of inadvertently trying to turn the child against the other parent, which can look bad, we know, in court. So you can't shield your child when you're not there from what's going on. And we got into that. Can you talk about how people should really look at it? Because they feel helpless.
Yeah, you feel helpless, and that's a tough situation. And I don't know if that feeling would ever go away for a parent, to try to want to protect your child, and especially if you think they're going to a situation that's very harmful and not good for them, right? And that gives people a lot of stress. It gives them a lot of anxiety, understandably so, right? But the way I have to look at it is unless things change, that in the court system or a different order comes down and I get my child and that child is going to be there, I have to focus on the things that are within my control, right? If I can't control whether or not they go there, right, I have to be what we talked about is being the person that I need to be for my child when they return to me, right? If I'm super stressed out and super anxious and always on edge, and then and they go to an environment at the other parent's home that is out of control, in disarray, and they come back to me and now I'm in disarray, like I again have done them a disservice, right? So I have to be preparing myself always to be the person that they need. So what they need, if they come from a place that is chaotic, they need to come back to a place of peace, right? They need to come back to a place that is free of that nonsense, right? So I can't keep going crazy the whole time they're gone. And then when they come back, things are crazy, right? So um, at least they're in a peaceful environment half of the time or however much time they're with you instead of like in a wild environment both, all the time.
Yeah.
So I have to control the things that I can control.
Yeah. So what about the parents that when their child isn't with them, they miss the child and they're miserable because so much of their life is wrapped around being a parent to this child?
Oh man, like it's like that saying, like kids, like a lot of parents say, like my child is my whole world,
Mhm.
right? My child is my everything.
Yep.
And I get that too, right? We are, I think most of us, we live in a space where we want to give our kids the things that we didn't have, right? And some of us, that was love. And for some of us, that was affection and attention. So we want to give all of that to our children. We want to make sure they always feel loved and always feel special and always feel like they're amazing, right? And they can be our world, but we have to teach them that they're not the center of the universe.
Mhm.
All right, they if I am sad, then I got to get back to me, right? Like you're at some point, your child is going to get older, and you're not going to be the center of their universe, right? Like
Mhm.
they're going to make friends, they're going to be going to school, they're going to be in sports activities, and you will no longer be the center of their universe. So what are you going to do then, right? So maybe the best thing to do is to start preparing for that before they leave you. It's like, what is the things that you love to do? What are the things that you enjoy? Like use that time not to take your time if you're sad, like when your kids leave, that's fine. Take your time to be sad, but take a little bit of time and then utilize that time to do something that you love, you enjoy. And and if you want to get back to reading, if you want to get back to an old hobby, if you want to spend time with your friends, like and don't feel guilty about it. All right? Like you can enjoy, you have a life too. You're more than just a mom or a dad. You're more than that. So whatever that more is, go seek it out and go find it when your kids are not with you. All right? And you'll live a much more fulfilled life. All right? And you're also teaching your kids that they should do the same thing. Like go find yourself. Do what you need to do. Like be you. Live your life. All right.
Right. And that also fits into what you said about being the person that the kids can come back to that's happy and peaceful and fulfilled rather than chaotic. Because also, if we're the people who are just spending all our time worrying and missing our children when they're not with us, then when they come back, they're going to sense that we are relying on them for our own emotional support. And that's not healthy either, right?
Right. That's not healthy. Like that. Our kids need to our kids need to be able to feel like they can be themselves. They can be free. Like they don't have to raise us and support us. And you know, that's our job. Our job is to support them. Right? Like and we don't want to put that burden onto our kids. Right? Like and to feel like, oh, I need you, I miss you so much, and like and they're feeling guilty about being now they're feeling guilty about being at the other parent's home because you've become so dependent on them and you've made it known, right? So
Yep.
that's it's almost it's you know maybe you're not doing it intentionally, but you're placing a burden on your child by doing that. Like you can let them know there's a middle ground there where you can let them know that you're gonna miss them. But I want you to have a good time at mom or dad's. I want you to have fun, enjoy yourself. Like mom or dad's gonna be fine over here, and so they're not feeling guilty about spending time with the other parent.
Right. And also, at the same by the same token, if your kids feel that you are emotionally dependent on them, that becomes a familiar relationship dynamic. And
Mm,
so as they get older and they start getting involved in their own relationships, they're going to be accustomed to putting other people's emotional needs before their own. And they're going to learn that their role is going to be to make other people happy.
yeah.
So that's what you might be inadvertently doing if you're miserable all the time when they're not with you.
Yes. Our happiness is not their responsibility,
Hmm.
right? Our happiness is really no one's responsibility but our own.
Hmm.
And it's like you said, when we're continuing a cycle. Once we do that, we start a cycle, and we and our kids, like you said, they want to do the same thing. They repeat the same behaviors in other relationships. Again, setting them up. We're not setting them up for success if that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So let's talk about boundaries, since that's a huge thing. We talked about boundaries with communicating. Actually, wait a second. I see a question that's a good one. What about texting good night to our kid while they're at the other toxic parent's house? That's a great question.
Um, I would, I would, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, is it, is I think it depends on the relationship between you and your kid. Is that and like what's wrong with texting goodnight? All right, I don't, like I think some people what happens is um I think you have to base it on the relationship too. Is it how is it harmful to the situation? You have to assess. Every situation is different. That act in itself is not there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you're texting goodnight every night, right? And the other parent at that other house is making your child feel bad about that, right?
Mm.
Then maybe you're not, maybe you're adding, you're throwing more, fuel on the fire than you need to. Does your kid know that you're thinking about them? Does your kid already know that you love them and miss them? Right? Is texting good night for you, or is it for them?
Mm.
Right? So you have to look at, it has to be very child focused. Is that for your peace of mind because it makes you feel better that your kid knows that you're texting them all the time, that you're thinking about them? Or are you causing more harm than good because now the other parent is making the kid feel guilty? All right. So you have to assess it case by case. And is it the best for the child?
That's a great point because again, we're looking at it, most people look at it as if you're just texting a kid goodnight at the normal parent's house, where it's like, that's fine. Everybody says goodnight. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you really went deeper into that, Anthony, because she's saying, what if they're at a toxic parent's house? And we know that a lot of toxic parents will find any excuse to cause drama. So if
Mm-hmm.
your text, which seems completely reasonable, is
Mm-hmm.
making it harder for the child, then maybe it isn't a good idea. So I love what you said, that it really depends on the situation. Because to people who don't understand the dynamics of co-parenting with a toxic guest, they'd be like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Right?
That act, there's nothing wrong with it that in itself, right? The act in itself,
Right.
nothing at all. But it's very case by case, right? There's nuance to all of this. And it's like, all right, well, like I said, what is the purpose? Like, because I think we operate with co-parenting, we operate under this idea of what co-parenting should be, right? Yeah, there's
Right.
this idealistic um scenario, but that is not the case in many scenarios, right?
Most
So idealistic,
most cases are not, at
in
least in
most
our world.
cases. So you have to operate based on the reality of your situation, not what somebody else's co-parenting situation is, not what your friend does, or I'm able to text my kid goodnight and there's no problem. Well, yeah, you know what? I should be able to do that too, so I'm gonna do it. Right? So, but maybe it's not what's best for your situation.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that. Was a great question. Okay, so we started mentioning about boundaries and communicating, and that was an example of one. But what about boundaries and when you're communicating with someone that you got out of a difficult relationship with? How can you do that? And why is it so important to maintain boundaries? Because you can't make them stop doing whatever they're doing.
Right. Um, you can only set the boundary like for yourself, right? And once if somebody continues to cross a boundary, then you adjust, right? Like it's like and the boundary is important for your peace, right? For your peace, your sanity, right? And for you, again, as a parent, there's so many levels to it of why you have to set boundaries because you're teaching your kids like to do the same thing as well, like in their lives, right? That boundaries are important. I think that's pretty a general consensus, like across the board, that boundaries are important. So, and and if I'm not doing that, right, like I'm adding more toxicity to the situation. Right? Like if I know, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, can you see me, Anthony?
No, I still
Oh,
can't
you
see you.
heard me. Okay. Okay. So I was going to say, in your work with the co-parenting coaching, what are some common examples of where somebody is pushing a boundary? Like, what do you see all the time?
What I see is when people were in toxic relationships, there was like a codependency there.
Hmm.
So I see that once you separate, once you get out of the relationship, you can't, people have a hard time severing the friendship or whatever they thought was a friendship. Right. So like now you think your business is their business, like their business is your business and vice versa. Every person you date or they date, you think you need to know all the details of their dating situation. You like, there's that line continues to get crossed, right? Like there's you're you're texting me at all kind of hours of the night and thinking it's okay, but I'm allowing it as well, right? And then when I don't respond at a certain amount of time, now then it's a problem because oh, so were you with somebody, or oh, why didn't you respond to my text? Like then it gets really messy. So um those boundaries have to be set. And even with so like and even if it's one when it comes to how people speak to you, right? I don't think people get involved in conversations that they shouldn't be involved in, right? If somebody's talking disrespectfully to you, calling you out your name, then they wanna argue back on the phone, or they want to get into an argument, and it's like that's where the boundary has to be set, right? If
Mhm.
you Once you call me out of my name, and once you do this in a disrespectful way, this conversation is over.
Mhm.
Like I'm not going to engage in that type of conversation. If we need to speak through a parenting app, then we just speak through a parenting app. If we can't communicate like adults in a healthy way, then we need to go see a mediator, or we need to go to court. Like you don't continue to let something happen over and over again, and you don't change your behavior or set a boundary.
Do you see it really? I mean, what we see all the time is a constant um, terrorist attack through messages on parenting apps, where somebody will keep relentlessly messaging about stuff with the kids, but in that process attack the other parent. Do you see that too? And if you do, any ideas on how to deal with the relentless attack, with mixed in with reporting information on the child, though?
So again, this is one of those scenarios where, for me, like you control the things you can't control, and you like with some people, there are like coaches that help people respond to, like there are coaches out there that help people respond to certain messages,
Yeah,
like
we that's a lot of what we do.
right, like
While writing for a judge, knowing it's going to be part of an exhibit. Yeah.
absolutely, you understand that, you know what, this is going to come out in court. I'm going to respond appropriately. I'm not. I'm going to pick out what needs to be responded to and respond to that.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to respond to the things that are not important, or that are attacking my character, that are calling me out on, like those things don't get my attention. Right? If I need to, um, sometimes you need to say, you know what, um, if you haven't set that boundary, you haven't told them, I don't appreciate you talking to me this way. I'm not going to respond to those things. I have to like, and you let them know that. But if sometimes you don't need to keep repeating yourself all the time. Like you
Right.
just, at some point, you just don't respond to those things. You don't give them any attention.
Yep.
Right. And that's really the only thing that's within your control, is how you respond to it. And luckily, the app responding, talking through an app or talking through text, it gives you time to take a pause, right? Because as much work as you've done on yourself, you may not be able to control. Sometimes you're not always be able to control when you're triggered by something. So that still may be happening for you. Somebody may say something, attack your character, say something rude to you, and it triggers you. You get upset, you get angry, um, but you have the luxury of taking time to calm down a little bit, analyze the message, right? Consult with who you need to consult with, people you trust, and respond appropriately instead of reacting in a way that you're going to regret.
Okay, how much easier said than done is that, Anthony? I mean, that is one of the hardest things with our clients. We actually, so I don't know if I told you this, but I used to be a high school English teacher. So we use a lot of education metaphors with our people, and we say you are now on the permission slip plan. You are not allowed to answer anything until we take a look at it. We look at what you're going to say and give it the okay or tweak it, but you cannot send that first knee jerk response, which everybody has. Like everybody feels like they want to say something back. And actually, with one of our clients, we said that she needs to write a book called What I Wanted to Say to My Ex, and put everything there. And then the rest of it, we filter and then send maybe.
Look, that book would sell, all right? Because it relate. So many people are going to be able to relate to it, and they're going to be reading it like,
Mhm.
oh my God, like I said that. That's what I did. You know? So that would be such a relatable book, and I think like, the issue is like what we're doing here, right? We're helping people, and I was actually going to post something about this today, like we're trying to grow and we're trying to get better, and we're all trying to be this best version of ourselves, right? But what comes with that this can be a very difficult space because they say when you know better, you do better, right? And
Mhm.
but that's not always the case. Sometimes you know better and you still don't do better, right? Which is why they say ignorance is bliss, right? You can like
Yeah.
when you know better and you don't do better, then you feel guilty about it, and then you start being upset with yourself instead of in this when you were in a space where you were ignorant and you didn't know, you just responded and reacted and you didn't care. You're like whatever. But now that you feel like you know a better way to do things and you don't do it, then you're upset with yourself and you're feeling down on yourself about it. So I think it's very important for people when they do react in a certain way that it's not like the person that they want to be, that they give themselves some grace, right? And they understand that they are human and that they're not perfect. You know, they're not going to handle every situation the picture perfect way. So give yourself grace, forgive yourself, and try your best to do better next time, right? Go take your break, talk to people you need to talk to. Don't respond when you're angry, ever.
Right. Right. I mean, we often talk about how, because, our people are dealing with a lot of court stuff, and how the other side, opposing counsel, their ex's attorney, will bully them. We know it. It happens all the time. And we say that's a strategy that they do on purpose.
Yeah,
So it's not like
absolutely.
a shock that you're being bullied and you can't go report them to the bar association because you're going to get nowhere and waste a whole bunch of time, money, and energy. Instead, understand the reason they're using that strategy is because they want to make you angry, because people who are angry and emotional don't make good decisions. They're not thinking straight. So
Yeah,
that's why they're doing it. So knowing that, let's prepare you so you recognize, oh, they're trying to get me angry. I know this is coming and I've already prepared for how I'm going to deal with it so I don't actually get angry and
yes,
say bad things on the record that shouldn't come out of my mouth in front of a
yes,
judge.
yes. There's studies on this. You're literally dumber when you're angry. Like, like you do, you do, you make decisions that are not like that you wouldn't make when you were in your rational state of mind. It's proven. So, and it's also proven that people who are manipulative, narcissistic, etc., they tend to find legal counsel that are just like them.
Yep, we talk about that all the time.
Right. So if you're in a moral, if you feel like you're trying to do things the right way, you're gonna find a lawyer that wants to do things the right way, and like you're not gonna sometimes you're not going to feel good about a really cutthroat lawyer because that's just it doesn't give you a warm and fuzzy. Like you want somebody who wants to do things the right way when that's what how you're trying to operate. All right. um but sometimes you know that's the way it has to be, right? But the people who aren't thinking that way, they're going to find a lawyer just like them who's gonna trigger you. That's their aim, that's their goal. So don't let them win.
Exactly. All right. So there's all this injustice in the legal system as well as out of the legal system, and especially in co-parenting with a difficult person. But how do we transition from the pain and the injustice to acceptance? Like, what can we do to start moving forward? Because we have clients that have been moving forward, but some of them are still really stuck because they are experiencing repeated trauma from the injustice of the court system. How can they start moving towards acceptance?
So I think we have to take it outside of the situation sometimes, and we have to start really doing that work on ourselves. Right? That's when it comes to what we talked about of being who I need to be for my kids. Like it may be hard to accept some things because you're stuck in this, like I said, like we talked about, of how things should be,
Mhm.
and you haven't learned how to deal with like hard situations, and you haven't learned how to deal with you know having to move on from those difficult situations. So it's like, have you really analyzed yourself? Have you said like, have you been saying to yourself, I've really been wanting to go to therapy and I haven't gone? Um, what are those things that need to be worked on within yourself? Because that's really where you have to start. And that self exploration will get you to the place that you need to go. It's a it can be a long journey to get there, right? Like, and sometimes working on yourself and getting self acceptance helps you start to accept other things in your life. And you're like, you know what? I'm not going to focus on dwelling on this right now. I'm going to figure out how I can move forward. It just puts you in a better state of mind and it helps you reframe, right? It's like, hmm, man, like I really can't change this other person. What I can change is me. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what I can change is how I look at this situation. And when I start to focus on those things, like then I can start to find peace. Then I can start to find peace and acceptance. So it's really an inside job.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the things that you can control because there's so much that you can't. And it makes me think about the two main emotions of people dealing with at least the high conflict family court system, and those are rage and injustice. And so we're always going to feel like that while we're still in the middle of it, but we can't change certain things. And that's why it is so important to get help. So things are unfair. The system is broken. My co-parent is awful. Oh, but it's not going to change. So how am I going to deal with that? And that's why it is so important to get help from people who do know, yes, this is how it is. Like it is how it is. And screaming about how bad it is isn't going to change anything. It's just going to keep us stuck in that hamster wheel, right?
And you have to ask yourself. I'm reading this book. I forget the name of it. It's called something. The title of it wouldn't you wouldn't think it was what it was about. You know, have you heard about like shadow work? A lot of people are doing shadow work right
Yeah.
now, and it's called like I think it's called existential kink or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's got nothing to do with like kinkiness or anything. It's about like understanding, really being really honest with yourself and saying, if a lot of people are being honest with themselves, they get pleasure out of being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
There's some
Oh, yeah.
pleasure that comes with continuously being a victim. So you want to be stuck. Is there a part of you that wants to be stuck? That's why I say it's an inside job because you really have to analyze yourself. Is there a part of you that enjoys the attention you get from saying, "Oh, he's a deadbeat dad," or "She's a deadbeat mom," or like that, like, and I'm so woe is me, woe is me. All right, is there some kind of joy you get out of that? Like, what is that doing for you?
Mm-hmm.
And are you ready to get past that? Because if you're not, then you'll always be stuck, right? So you have to analyze both sides of that, and that can be hard. That can be hard to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so if you really don't want to be stuck anymore, then you start doing the things that you know are good for you. You start doing the things that like if the things that you said, the things that you say I should be doing that you're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like make a list. Like what are the things that you tell yourself all the time, I really should be doing this for me, and you're not doing? Is it not binge watching television? Is it journaling? Is it going for a run, for a bike ride? Is it like watching what you eat? What are the things that you say that I need to be doing that you're not? And then and start doing those things and you will see how your life changes and you will see how your perspective changes.
You know what that makes me think of too is the idea of trust. That we complain when other people say they're going to do something and then they don't do it. We can't trust them. But I think people don't realize that when we tell ourselves, I should be doing this, 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 and then we don't do it, we're actually betraying ourselves as well. And the way we can start learning to trust ourselves and also to get confidence in ourselves in all areas of life is to do what you're saying, is to almost make a list and show up and be like, okay, if I know I should be watching what I'm eating, I know I should be running, I know I should be spending a little time with friends and getting out of the house, then do it.
Yeah,
Do it a little, like start showing up and be the person that you want other people to be for you, right?
yeah. And you know it's funny, like we're human, right? We're all human. We make mistakes and we're not perfect. But like we have a certain set of beliefs, we have a certain set of values, and that only apply sometimes to other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I think if you ask most people that, do you believe that things happen for a reason? Most people would say yes. And you talked about trust, right? So if you really believe that, how come you don't believe it when bad things happen to you or seemingly bad things happen to you? How come you can't apply it? right? Or think about it in the same mindset. So if you believe that things happen for a reason, and then something seemingly bad, like a separation, divorce, horrible court, like going through a horrible custody battle or whatever, why can't you believe that? Why can't you trust that you're gonna get through this, and that when you come out on the other side, it's gonna have taught you something. You're gonna be stronger. You're gonna be more knowledgeable. Whatever positive that you can take from it, even though it seems really shitty right now, and it may be, but why did this have to happen? Like sometimes you have to ask yourself that question. Like, why did this have to happen? Like, why did this separation have to happen? Why did this divorce have to happen? You know, and and if you search for those type of answers, you will find them.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. So, Anthony, I'm just looking at the time, and I also love how this seems like we're coming to the end. I know there's so many things for us to talk about, but I like ending on that note. Is there anything that we forgot to say during this talk that we should not wait for part two? And if not, can you tell people how to find you and what you do? A little more about what you do and what you offer.
So there's always more to be said. I think we ended on a good note by saying trust that you're gonna be able to find some value in what's happening if you approach it with the right mindset, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and just trust in that. And trust that if you're doing everything you can, that things will turn out the way that they're supposed to. All right. So, but as far as like finding me, the best way to find me is through Instagram or TikTok. Um, the co-parenting coach on TikTok. You can find me there. I share all the same content in both sites. Um, and I'm really excited I'll share the link with you after this. But I'm really excited about a coaching community that I'm going to be a part of. It's a new coaching app, and it's they're trying to do coaching the right way. It's a company called Ngomu, and if you have a subscription to or membership to the app, you get access to all the coaches on the app, right? And it's I don't know, I think it's a great platform. It's group coaching. My coaching community is going to be on the app, and you'll be able to get a discount through an affiliate link that I send out to people, yearly membership, and you get with that yearly membership, it's very affordable. And with that membership, you get access to all the coaches. So my coaching community on the app is going to be co-parenting from A to Z, where I'll
Mm-hmm.
be hosting group coaching sessions twice a month. Um, and I think it's going to be amazing. So I'll share that with people. That would be one of the best places to find me.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking. I'm sorry that I can see you, but you can't see me. But I'm sure we're going to get together again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.